This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, and welcome to Navigating the Now. We're doing this series to just help people get their feet under them during this transition again time. And I'm really excited to have Leanne with me today. Leanne Hullick-Reyes is one of our belief specialists. She's studying to become a belief repatterning practitioner. And welcome, Leanne. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here today. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. So let's just talk a little bit about how you got involved with belief repatterning, how it kind of landed on your doorstep.
Well, in 2017, I was trying to figure out what my next do might be, and then someone named a lovely lady named Bev said, "Oh, Leanne, I just found out about something. You should come with me." And unfortunately I couldn't come to learn about belief repatterning at that time. And so then in 2019, I got the invitation again. And so I was still trying to figure out what my do might be. And a wise woman said to me, Leanne, you don't have to figure out what your do is. You just have to figure out who you want to be. And I'm like, oh, well, how come I haven't heard that ever before in my whole entire life? So I get to your program, and it is this saying, a new way to be, and let's help you figure out who you want to be. I'm like, and then the do will follow. I'm like, wow, twice that. And so I have to listen to this. So I did the 1 hour, and then I did 2 weeks. It was over like a period of 2 weeks, and then I decided this is who I can figure out how I'm going to be. And then I decided it can also be my do. So that is my be and do story.
Awesome. So I'm going to ask, we've all been through this really interesting, what I'm calling COVID time. What's a gift or a learning that you've found from COVID? Because I think, it's really easy for people to kind of list off all the things that are wrong and the things that they missed and the things they couldn't do. But I'm really encouraging people, and I know you have been as well, to really focus on what's the gift. So for you, what have the gifts of this time been?
Well, COVID has been a reckoning for, I think, every person. So whatever you didn't really want to deal with, that was what your opportunity is to deal with it. And so I have always, well, for quite a long time, I've been trying to increase my patience. And I didn't know how. And from March to September, March to June, me and my beautiful daughter were given the gift of time, and we had to figure out how to live together, because we always had the opportunity to say, oh, let's go here, let's go there, let's leave, let's do this, and everybody's going their own way. So everything completely stopped, and I had to figure out how to, every day, 24 hours, to find that patience. And so I slowly was able to realize the feeling of losing my patience, which I didn't know, because I would go from 0 to freak out, and I didn't know how I was getting there. So I started to feel this emotion, and instead of trying to push through an activity with her, I would stop and say, oh, I'm not feeling good. So, and I would actually stop. And that was huge for me to do that. And then I would actually recognize this and tell her, and then I would come back later, and then we would try again. And wow, so that was the biggest learning and gift for me and for my daughter. So it's
Nice.
huge.
So I don't know if this might also, like, what challenge did you overcome during COVID using belief repatterning, like using this ability to switch your mind from what's wrong to how do I want to be? What was a big challenge? Maybe you've already expressed one, but what's another one? Another challenge that you were able to overcome?
Well, yes, I have one. And so I have a little story, and then there's 3 parts of 3 different challenges, but maybe they're all combined. So one of the biggest challenges is there's 3 parts. So measured results. I was really attached to, quantitative measured results. I was also really attached to timing. It has to happen on my time. And then there's this other premise of me being okay with whatever the results might be. So here's my little story about this. So in January, we had nowhere to go and nothing to accomplish, and it was dark and cold. So I found out about this really cool program designed by a holistic nutritionist, and it was to learn different new recipes and portion sizes. And I had never tried to learn anything about this for the last 25 years because me and the scale, I had banished her from the house. So, you know, I didn't know how to learn to nourish my body or honor my body with food. So I decided to start this program. So one difficult part was I had to bring a scale into the house. So so I had to weigh myself once a week. And so each week, then you had to do this. And I was getting results that I didn't really like, you know. So these measured results were not indicating all the effort that I was doing. And so I was angry and frustrated. And I had to look that there was no other people involved in this scenario. And then I had this inanimate object, this scale that I wanted to throw out the window, and I wanted things to happen on my time, right? So one day I look at this scale in the morning and I decided that I'm going to be okay no matter what that number is. And that came from belief repatterning. It had to have come from belief repatterning because I just decided that I'm not going to go on this roller coaster with this scale or these measured results. So it's this interconnection of timing and measured results and me being okay with whatever results happen, knowing that there's the process and the journey and not just the destination. Like, and this also then overflows and ripples into my daughter's life, you know, and everyone around us, because I think I had a glimpse of what it might be like to be a kid. And because I don't remember details like this, but I think about all the times where I'm measuring her, or, you know, and all these kids are being measured all the time. Your grades, did you pass swimming lessons or did you actually have fun? You know, so I really want to, because I felt this, I really want to be more, it gives me this chance to be so much more aware of not trying to measure her, and let's just enjoy this process, and especially in this time of COVID. So my intention is to, for me, for my daughter, and for all of everybody, to let's go easy on ourselves a little bit more because of this pandemic. And we don't even know how these little brains are processing it, but for us, it's even if it's difficult. So let us go easy and not just only look at measured results for ourselves and especially our children, because I was angry and frustrated, and she must be feeling like that too when I'm always looking only at the results. Because one more little thing is that if I have this imagined a result of what she should accomplish, and she hits a result that's a little bit away from it, it doesn't mean that there hasn't been so much work taking place for her to arrive there.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was talking with a friend last night, and she said, you know, I've been a COVID failure. And I was like, what does that mean? And she said, well, I haven't learned a new language or picked up an instrument or, you know, improved myself, didn't take any courses. And I was like, do you like your, and she was like, yeah. And I said, do you like your own company more than you did this time last year? And she went, oh yeah. And I said, 100% stars. Like, that's, you know, I think anyone coming through that, and belief repatterning can really help you with that, you know. And that's, so I know that you are interested in working with a range of people, and all of the practitioners are, but I know that you also have some specific passions. And so I'm going to ask you to talk about that in just a minute. But first I wanted to see, we've got some listeners. Has anyone got a question that they'd like to ask in terms of what Leanne has shared so openly with us already? If you do, you can put your mic on, or you can pop into the chat box and I'll call you by name. I'm not seeing anyone jumping at the moment. I'm going to have you, Leanne, go ahead with responding to that question, sort of the kind of people that you're really passionate about working with. Not that you don't help everybody with belief repatterning, because we all do, but what's really the, you know, the ones that your heart just goes, yeah, I really, really love supporting people in this way?
Mhm. Well, I have mentioned myself as perhaps at times I can be a dragon slayer. And so a dragon slayer is someone, according to my definition, someone who might be critical, judging, abrupt, and trying to control life. So I am trying to do a little less of all those, and do a little more of letting things flow and be more patient, as I mentioned. So uh, I think the belief repatterning and my assistance could help people who are parents, but not necessarily, So I don't want to, try to categorize all people, but also people who some of us, might be suffering, and we might not have to be. So it's something that we can choose to just look at the situation a little bit differently, and ease that, and move with ease, and then feel with ease. So I don't know, maybe
People who are
I'm
just
not really
learning how to become a bit easier on themselves, maybe. That's what it sounds like to me, for sure. Okay, so there's a question. Does Dragon Slayer equal high performers?
I wouldn't say that is necessarily true. If you're a high performer and you are peaceful and content, then you've got it figured out. But if you feel you have to be a high performer and you're miserable, then I think that then might be the Dragon Slayer, So and so we don't, I think the Dragon Slayer might be the internal slaying your own dragons. I don't really refer to it as, slaying the outside world. But you know what, as I felt that I had to fight the good fight. I felt there wasn't enough space in the world, so I had to create space, because me and my daughter had arrived. So now there is enough space and enough everything for everyone. So I was more on this scarcity perspective, and now it's more abundance. So I think that also contributes to the definition of a dragon slayer. As I talk about it, then it maybe becomes a little more clear. So yeah, I think mothers who feel that they're really suffering and maybe are really harsh and abrupt at times, because we all are. We're not perfect, but it's also to forgive yourself. I think that's a big thing. And the Dragon Slayer never forgives. Okay, so yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a really good point. And I would say that my observations during COVID, and you touched on this earlier, is that kind of whatever you had to reckon with is really showed up. And my observations have really been that, as well as this everybody's bandwidth is just a little bit narrower. So, we're quicker to react or respond. And I found myself, I was like, wow, because we're operating so much in that conscious mind that it's exhausting. And so we're a little bit down a court, not quite on our the way that we'd like to be. And I think a lot of people are really seeking that. How do I find my feet again? So I'm just going to grab a piece of paper, because I realized I didn't bring one close enough that I could reach. While I'm doing that, do you want to let people know how they can find you?
Sure. And just before I do that, I want to say, so that my analogy for the Dragon Slayer, the other side of that would be the lamplighter. So as I'm walking along and I'm learning from others, then I'm little lights. I imagine this movie from, I can't even remember what it's called, but anyways, so you're walking along and there's beautiful lampposts. I love lampposts, and I have this little fire and a long stick, and then I'm lighting the lamppost for myself, and then it lights it for other people as well. So I think that's my lovely perspective. It feels lovely when I think about it. We're helping each other just to become more aware of ourselves, because the Dragon Slayer also, she wasn't very aware of her energy and the impact of her energy on her daughter or other people as well. So yeah, so that's another part of it. And
Awesome.
any questions on that? Can anyone relate? Oh God.
All right. So
anyway,
get a hold of you.
so
I'm just an
find me.
for your belief repatterning.
So you know what? Yes, leanne.hullick-reyes at beliefrepatterning.com. Also leanne.h.reyes@gmail.com. And I am on Facebook and LinkedIn. So yeah, that's how to find me.
All right. Any further questions before I'll just put that up there again. This is our high-tech way of letting people know how we get a hold of, but you can always go to the Belief Repatterning website, and under team, you'll find Leanne's profile there as well. And so you can also reach her through that way. On Facebook, LinkedIn, isn't it fun how we can be so connected to people now? Love it. Yeah. All right. I'm not seeing any other questions or curiosities or comments. We'll give people one more chance to do that. But meanwhile, what would you like to suggest as something that would be a great try this on that would help people move from that kind of place of being hard on themselves and looking for the metrics and always the timeline to move towards patience? Is there one? I mean, I know there's a bunch that you use, but is there one that you would say try this on for a couple of days or a week, or what some simple thing that people could do would help them move in that direction?
So I realized that I was only preparing for my days physically. So I learned that I needed to prepare for my day mentally and emotionally. And so my sister introduced a 5-minute gratitude journal to me, and I have been doing it, and I've suggested it to as many people as possible. And so it's patented, and you can buy a book for $26. But the premise is that, first of all, you write down 3 things that you're grateful for in the morning, and then you write down what would make today great, and you write 3 things. And then at the end of the day, you write 3 amazing things that happened and 1 thing that you would like to do better at. And at the morning, again, you can write a daily affirmation if you want, So what that did was it helped set the stage. And in belief repatterning, I didn't realize that, it was so connected to belief repatterning, but it's setting us up on the upside rather than the downside. And so to be grateful for something, even though we are in a difficult time, to be grateful for a warm house and the fact that we can physically isolate, because some people in developing countries can't isolate, because there's multiple generations living together. And so just the fact that, the sky is, we can see sky and clouds, because some people in some countries can't see that, so little things. So the gratitude is huge, and I really believe that that's what helped me to move a little bit along my journey with the patience path and many other parts of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, it fits so well with belief repatterning. Belief repatterning has 7 steps, as well as these quick little try-it-ons that we do. But the 7 steps, and one of the steps is gratitude. And it's also gratitude not only outward, but also inward is one of the things that we really focus on in the repatterning community. So it's like, I'm grateful for my warm house, and I'm grateful to myself for paying the utility bill last month. Like, take credit for that is a great place to just really supersize the gratitude. So that's fantastic. So we've got a couple of comments. The images of the dragon slayer and the lamplighter is delightful. I agree. It's instead of fighting the world, it's just like, let's bring light to the world. I think the world could use it right now, and I'm sure you would agree. Yeah. The world could use a lot more light. And then 100% gratitude changes our perspective, and such a great space to start your day from. Absolutely. And I would encourage anyone who's doing gratitude already to add in that piece about, and I'm grateful to myself for. So I am grateful to you, Leanne, for being with us today. Go ahead.
And that was a part that I gained from belief repatterning, because I didn't have that on my own. So that is the really nice part, to do this inward looking, because I think that's what the belief repatterning really helps us to do, and in changing our perspectives, because we're always looking to the external world to help us find our way, and then we're riding roller coasters, and that is exhausting. So to be able to create that stability internally is really, really powerful.
Which allows you to be a light. So I really appreciate you being with us here today. I appreciate that you have taken up this light and are spreading the word to people. And do contact Leanne. She is able to do one-on-one belief repatterning sessions with you, coaching, and will help you find your path, because she's a great lamplighter. Take care. Anything else to add before we say goodbye?
No, thank you so much for your time, and happy Easter, and enjoy our families. Thank you so much, Suze.
Take care.
Thank you for your time. Okay, bye-bye.